And welcome. Starting off seated on your mat. And you're welcome to sit in a chair. And if sitting cross-legged does not feel comfortable to you today, you're welcome to lie down instead. Closing the eyes when you feel ready. And begin to pay attention to your breathing. Noticing the air as it moves in and out of your body. And listen to the sounds that the breath makes. Letting your body settle down, feeling grounded through your legs and your seat. And feeling relaxed in the shoulders and all along the spine. And soften the jaw. Soften the muscles around the eyes and cheeks. And letting your tongue rest at the base of the mouth. As you find this comfortable, still position on your mat, noticing any sensations that come up from within, noticing any urges to adjust or shift the body, to scratch and itch. And see if you can just observe those sensations. Just watching those urges. And without taking any action. Perhaps you might find that after a few moments, those sensations go away. And they might get replaced by a new set of sensations. And coming back to your breath, keeping your awareness within the body. Letting go of any distracting thoughts. Letting go of any items in your to-do list or any plans for the rest of the day. Just allowing yourself to be here in this moment, connected to your body, connected to your breath. Throughout the class, if you find your thoughts wandering off, taking you someplace else, without any judgment or being harsh on yourself, gently guide your thoughts back to the breath. back to the present moment. And let this connection with the present moment remain a part of your day and beyond. And I invite you to begin to transition from where you are on your mat into a tabletop position. And if you feel comfortable doing so, you can keep the eyes closed, keeping your movements intentional. No rush at all. Really feel your body, feel the different parts of your body moving, the muscles engaging, feel the weight shifting as you bring your hands, your knees and feet onto the mat. See if you can find that tabletop position without opening your eyes. Just letting your body's inner awareness guide the whole transition. And once you've completed that transition, open the eyes and notice if your body has led you astray. Making any adjustments as needed. You want to be spreading your fingers wide, palms are flat, shoulders over wrists, long spine, then the hips are over the knees. Let's have your toes tucked under. And we're going to rock gently back and forth. Let your shoulders go past the fingertips, and then let your seat go back towards the heels. You can keep this range of motion fairly limited to start off if you want, and then slowly explore that range of motion, going a little bit further, finding what feels good for your body in this moment, warming up your wrists, warming up your forearms, feeling your finger and thumb pads gripping the mat as you flatten your palms down. And then coming back towards center, we're going to start to rock from one side to the other. So feel your weight shifting from the right to the left. Feel the weight going from one hand to the other, from one part of the hand to the other. Feeling your shoulders and hips moving from side to side. And really try to bring awareness to this part of your body, your thigh bone, where it inserts into the pelvis. And see if you can really press that thigh bone right into the hip pelvis as you push it out to the side. And then come back towards center. We're going to start to make big circles as you inhale, go up, exhale to come down into the sides. Nice circles with your hips and shoulders at your own pace, moving with your breath. Switching up the direction of the rotations. And throughout the class, see if you can keep your movements connected with the breath. And then we come back towards center. And let's have the hips stacked over the knees. We're going to lower down onto our forearms. And then walk your elbows away from the body, setting up for puppy dog pose, resting your forehead on the mat, letting your chest melt down while your hips stay stacked over knees, your tailbone lengthening upwards. Think about pressing your arm bones right into the shoulder sockets. And opening through the armpits. Begin to spread your fingers, push into the hands, lifting your forehead up and drive your chest and head forward, stepping your feet to the back of your mat. As you find your way to a plank, we're going to go ahead and lower the knees down, pointing your toes, setting up in Sphinx pose, a gentle back bend as you push the hips down, take your gaze forward, maybe look up if that's comfortable for your neck. As you draw the shoulders down the back, broaden through your collarbones, breathe deep into the belly. And bring your gaze down to the mat. We're going to bring the hands down as you lower your chest and chin onto the mat. We're going to take the feet mat width distance apart here. So go ahead and walk your feet to the edges of the mat. From here, keeping your hands beside the body, elbows are stacking above the wrists. Let's lift the feet as you bend both knees. The inner edges of your feet come together on the mat with your toes pointing up to the ceiling. Now, what we're going to try and do here is lift the knees off the mat, even if that means they're just lifting a few inches. That's perfectly fine. Try to engage your low back and glute muscles along with the hamstrings to try and fire up the posterior muscle chain and lift the knees off the mat. On the exhale, engaging your low back and glutes, lift your knees off the mat, and then releasing down with control on the inhale. So there's a big ant that keeps wanting to come onto my mat. I'm just pushing it away. On the exhale, lift. Inhale, gently lower. And if we want to lift and hold for a little bit, just to really contract those muscles and fire into the glutes, you can go ahead and do that. Or continue lifting and lowering with the breath. And if you want to add a little bit more to it, you can also push into the hands and lift your chest off the mat when you lift the knees off. So exhale. At your own pace, choosing your own variations. Again, lift and hold is perfectly fine as well. Keeping the elbows nice and tucked into the body. Shoulders set back and down. Chest is open. Breathing here. And releasing everything back down. Let's go ahead and straighten out those legs. Keeping the feet at the width of your mat. From here, we're going to reach the left arm out in front of you and reach the right arm beside the body. So I'm straightening out my right arm, letting it rest beside me. My chin, my chest, and shoulders are down. From here, I'm going to bend that right knee as the foot comes off the mat. Reaching with my right hand, rotating that arm bone externally to try and grab the inner edge of the foot. And then I begin to pull that heel towards the body. Keeping that right knee down, left toes pointed. If I want to, you can also push into your fingertips and come into a back bend while you continue to use the strength in your right hand to pull the heel towards the body. Stay with a nice easy breath here, steady gaze. Stretching out your quads, your hip flexors on the right side. And then releasing. Straightening out that right leg, switch arms, take your right arm in front, bring the left arm beside the body. From here, lift the left foot as you bend that knee. Rotate your arm bone externally so your chest opens, your shoulder reaches back, grabbing hold of the inner edge, and then bring the hand to the top of the foot. Start to use the strength in that arm to pull the heel towards your body, keeping those right toes pointed. And feel that stretch in the left quads and hip flexors. Try not to let your left knee come too far off the mat. Try to keep it pushed down, and then go ahead and add that back bend variation if you want. Remember, the variations are not compulsions. If you like something, you can try it. If it doesn't feel good, you don't have to do it on the other side. Listen to your body, paying attention to your breath. If you're not able to breathe in a particular pose, it's always a good indication that your body maybe is not quite ready for that particular variation. And then go ahead and release down. Straighten out that left leg and reach both arms beside the body with your palms down. Feet are still hip width distance apart or mat width distance apart. Toes are pointed. And to make it a little bit more challenging this time, we're going to try and lift the legs again, but this time the legs are going to be straight. With the legs straight, it means they're slightly heavier. So we'll try that. If that doesn't feel good, you can always just bend the knees and bring your feet together again. So let's go ahead and try to, again, fire up those glutes on the exhale. Lift the legs off the mat, pointing your toes. So you want to feel that the entire leg is one active unit. There's no energy leaks happening in the ankles or the knees. And then go ahead and release back down. Let's do that a couple times. Now, one of the ways to make this target your hips a little bit more is when you lift your legs, think about rotating your hip bones externally. So you're really trying to get your toes to point out 45 as opposed to pointing back. It's a minor adjustment. If you're not quite feeling that, you can just lift as you are. And now, as always, if you want to add in something else, you can also bring your whole back body into play and lift the chest and chin off the mat, squeezing your shoulder blades together as you engage your back body to lift against gravity. Again, with the breath, lift on the exhale, releasing on the inhale, or lift and hold and just breathe in this position. And let those muscles really work. Anytime you're lifting against gravity, your muscles are active. Lots of strength, even though there's not a lot of movement happening. You can really engage and fire those muscles, making them work together, building strength, building stability in the entire body. And releasing back down. From here, let's bend the knees, have your soles of the feet together, bring the hands by your ribs, elbows stacking over wrists, spread the fingers. From here, we're gonna push into the hands, keep your knees down, and lift your chest and belly off. As your feet come down at the back of the mat, send the seat back, let's come into child's pose. As you rest your forehead down, let your seat rest on the mat, stretching out the low back and glutes, those muscles we were just firing, and giving them a chance to stretch and relax. As you rest your forehead, if you want to, you can walk the hands together, bring your palms to touch, and then bend the elbows. Let your thumbs rest on the upper back. So you get that extra bit of stretch for your armpits, letting your chest come closer to the ground, breathing here. A couple more breaths. And we start to straighten out the arms, separate the hands. As your hands come shoulder width distance, spread the fingers, flatten the palms, begin to push and lift up. And from here, we walk the hands to the front of your mat, stepping your feet to the back. Your hands are shoulder width, feet are hip width distance apart, finding your way into a high plank. Nice and strong through the entire body here. Push into the hands, try to fill up into your back body. As you feel that low belly pull in, the back of your kneecaps lift and the heels reach back. Breathing here, nice strong plank. We're gonna set up for chaturanga from here. On the exhale, bend the elbows back as you lead your chest forward. If you wanna bring the knees down, totally fine to take that option. As you exhale, coming down, bend the elbows to 90, push from the ankles on the inhale, rise up into your back bend, roll the shoulders back, lift in the chest, and exhale, lift the seat as you tuck your toes under, coming into a downward facing dog, starting with knees bent. Let's pedal the feet in place, moving your hips side to side if that feels good. Bending one knee and straightening the other as you push the heel down towards the floor. Getting a stretch in the calf muscles. Coming to find stillness in downward dog. Let's bend the knees as you inhale, look ahead, and then take your time as you walk your feet to the front edge of your mat. Ending up in a forward fold with your knees bent, your spine rounded, releasing the head down to the mat as you grab onto opposite elbows. Feel free to rock from side to side. Let the legs do the work of carrying your body so your torso can just hang loose, so your spine can decompress. And then starting to come back towards center as you release the elbows. Bring the hands on your shins. Inhale, come up halfway, flat back. Draw the shoulders down the mat. Lean forward, grip the mat with your toes. Chin tucked in so your head is in line with the spine. Exhale, bend the knees, round the spine, forward fold or Uttanasana. Inhale, come up halfway, flat back, Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale, plant the palms. From here, bring your hands onto the mat. From here, we take a step back with the right foot. Nice big step into a lunge. Ground the back knee and sink low into your pelvis with your front knee tracking over the ankle. Lift the arms and point your fingers to the ceiling. You can have your back toes tucked under or be on the top of that foot as you use the weight of your torso to sink the pelvis closer to the mat. From here, just gonna let that left arm drop and bring it around the back onto your right hip crest as you start to twist your chest over to the left side, reaching your right fingers up and back. Continue pushing your pelvis forward and down as you twist in the upper body. Using that backhand connection to open the shoulder. And from here, bring that right arm across, press it against your left thigh, and start to twist even further, looking past the left shoulder here. Option here to tuck the back toes under. Take that knee off the mat, and also take that left hand and bring both palms together for a prayer twist with a lunge as you press that top hand into the bottom hand. And then the arm pushes against the leg. If your back knee is off the mat, keep it nice and strong, lift it up towards the sky. Always looking for a steady breath and even strong base. And then on the next inhale, let's go ahead and release our way out of the twist, placing your hands on the mat. If your back knee is down, lift it up here. And we step that foot to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to release. From here, bring your palms onto the mat. Let's take a step back with the left foot. So I'm going to switch sides so I can continue seeing you. As you take that left foot back, ground the back knee. And with your arms up beside the ears, fingers pointing up, sink low into your lunge. Finding your breath, finding your balance. And then letting that right arm drop beside you, bring it around the back to your left hip crest, and then start to twist towards your right side with your left fingers reaching to the back right corner. You want to make sure there's not too much pressure going onto your low back here. You're keeping your tailbone lengthening down. And on the next exhale, reach that elbow across the body and press it against the right thigh as you start to open the chest even further. Look past the right shoulder, and option to, once your palms come together, tuck the back toes under and lift that knee off the mat. Prayer twist with a lunge as you pull that lower belly away from the inner thigh. Think about scissoring into the hips, your right hip pulling back, the left hip pushing forward, and that back leg is strong. Taking the shoulders away from the ears. Maintain that steady breath. On the next breath in, we come out of the twist, bring the hands onto the mat, and we take that back foot and step it to the top. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to release. On the next breath in, as you push through your feet, come all the way up to standing. Reach with your fingers as your palms come together, look between the hands. And gentle standing back bend, lift the chest, elongate your tailbone down, root down through your feet, breathe here. And exhale, lower the hands down through chest center and let them fall beside you. Shake out the arms, shake out the legs. Let's grab a quick sip of water if you want to. And we're gonna stand with our feet about mat width distance, placing the hands onto your hips. And we're going to do nice wide hip rotations. Think about drawing wide circles with your pelvis, with your hips. Pushing your pelvis out in all directions. Noticing if you're feeling any clicks or pops as you're doing this. And let's switch the direction of the rotations. Always a good idea to train mobility while you're training flexibility and strength as well. And coming back to center. From here, we're going to reach one arm up, reach the other hand beside you, look up to the ceiling. Inhale, come back center. Exhale, the other side, reverse. Inhale, come back, exhale. Moving with the breath at your own pace. Inhale, come back, exhale to bend over to the other side. You want to feel this as a stretch all through the side body here, where your torso attaches to the legs and the obliques and the lats. And come back to center, pausing here. And bring the heels in as your toes naturally turn out 45 degrees. Bring the palms together. We're going to sink into Malasana here. Pressing your arms against the inner thighs, sinking low through your pelvis, driving your chest forward, broad into the collarbones. You're welcome to close the eyes or find a steady spot, fixing your attention there as you relax into the hips, Coming back to your breath. Letting those muscles in the inner thighs, the adductors, stretch and relax. And from here, go ahead and release the hands. We're going to push into the legs from this low position, coming all the way back up to standing. Bring the hands on your hips and then turn your feet so that they're parallel, facing in the same direction one more time towards the front. Take an inhale as you lengthen from your waist all the way to the shoulders, and then exhale to hinge forward from the hips. Keeping that long spine all the way, and then letting your hands come down onto the floor. With your fingers on the ground, let's go ahead and start to move your hips from one side to the other. Again, like we did at the beginning of the class, you want to think about really pressing the thigh bone right into the pelvis. So you can feel this stretch along the outer thighs, your IT bands, those glute muscles, the glute medius specifically, targeting those muscles in the lateral part of your body, as well as even the lower back. And as you're doing this, if you want to go a little bit further, once your weight is on one hip, see if you can take your hands towards the opposite foot. And you can walk your feet a little bit closer too. You don't have to have them completely mat width apart. So try and take your hands towards the opposite foot from the weight-bearing leg. Then coming back to center. Bring the hands onto your hips. Come up halfway as you inhale. Find that long spine. And then pushing into the legs. Continue rising up all the way to starting position. From here, we're going to widen our stance a little bit, coming into goddess squat or sumo squat, however you like to call it. Your toes are turned out 45 degrees, and knees and toes facing in the same direction, bending into the knees as you find your way into the squat. You want those knees tracking above the ankles. Let's start with the hands on the inner thighs. Try and have your pelvis level with the knees, finding your comfort, finding your breath, your balance, and then start by bringing your right shoulder down towards the mat. Keeping the spine long. Bring your torso to be flat against the floor or parallel to the floor. Inhale, come back. Exhale, drive the other shoulder down. You want to get this as a stretch in the back along your shoulder blades, those rhomboid muscles that bring the shoulder blades together. You want to try and stretch them out here. So you're inhaling to come back and exhaling to drive the shoulder down. While you're doing that, you're also pressing that hand gently against the inner thigh. Notice my hand is away from the knee. I'm only putting pressure on the inner thigh and the meat of the muscle, nowhere close to the knee. So I'm not actually at risk of pushing my knee out of alignment with my toes. And then coming back to center. Sinking low into this pose, bring your palms together, letting your palms rest. Think about lengthening your tailbone down, sitting upright in your torso. We'll sink a little deeper. Push up a few inches and sink. I know the quads are burning, getting your glutes to fire here as well, not just your quads. And dip and push, lift and dip. One last time, push, lift and dip. And let's lift all the way. Nicely done. Let's turn your toes as you pivot on the heels, toes facing in the same direction one more time. We're going to rotate the hips. Both directions. All right, come back to center. Throw the arms up into a wide V with your peace fingers reaching up. Make a big X with your body. And then take an inhale to lengthen in your torso. Exhale, hinge from the hips, fold down. Grab your big toes with the peace fingers. Get a nice strong grip with your palms facing in the middle. Lean forward so the weight is in your toe mounts. Begin to pull up with your hands. Push down with your feet. Keep that spine long. Tailbone reaching back. Top of the head reaching forward. And you're really using the strength in your hands to pull up and the strength in your legs to push down. Breathing into the stretch in the back of your thighs, maybe even in the inner thighs. If you're not quite feeling the stretch in your thighs, you can widen the stance a little bit, or as much as you need to get that stretch in the inner thighs, the adductor muscles. Try to keep the weight balanced evenly between both feet, pushing down through the both edges of your feet at the same time. And then start to release those big toes. Bring the hands underneath the face in the center. From here, we're going to bend into that right knee and walk the hands towards that foot. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale over to the other side. Going side to side at your own pace. Inhale, center. Exhale to bend. If you want to take the hands off, you can. Let's start off with the soles of the feet firmly pressing down into the mat. Just to warm up into this exercise and also give the ankles a chance to find some greater mobility as well. And the next time you lift up from the left side, we'll pause in the middle, push into your feet, come up standing. Pull your heels in, toes turned out 45 degrees, and we sink into our goddess pose one more time. Really think about opening and rotating your hips out like this. So you feel that stretch in the inner thigh muscles, and you have your knees and toes facing out in the same direction. As you deepen the stance, your pelvis is in line with the knees, or as close as possible. Bring the arms shoulder height, rotate your arm bones externally so you feel your thumbs point up and then back. So now your palms are facing up, your chest is open. And now keep in that orientation for the arms, bring your pinkies to touch together. Now from here, I want you to think about keeping your spine as long as possible. Start to send your hips back and send your hands forward. So I'll turn to the side so you're able to see what I'm doing here. I start off here, torso upright, tailbone lengthening down, and then I'm trying to get my torso close to parallel to the ground. I'm sending my seat back, I'm reaching with my fingers forward, and then come back, push into those legs, come back. Woo, those legs are working, shake them out. And let's grab a sip of water. Awesome, you guys are doing great. Standing with your feet wide apart. Let's bring the hands together behind you, interlace the fingers together. So you're gonna form a clasp with your hands behind the back, and then start to straighten out the arms. Feel that chest open as you lift the hands up and away from the body. So it's looking something like this. On the next inhale, lengthen in your torso. Exhale, hinge from the hips and fold. Lift the hands away from the body and think about bringing them closer to the ground in front of you. Lean the weight forward onto your toe mounts, firmly pushing in the feet, opening across your chest. Pardon me. One of my neighbors' fire alarm is going off. I want to make sure they're okay. Okay, it's off now. Everyone's okay. All right. Feet are wide. And we're going to come back to that movement that we did earlier. And this time, as you walk your hands towards one foot, the leg that's straight, you can pop those toes off the mat and flex the ankle and toes up towards you. So you can sink a little bit deeper and then bring that foot down and shift over to the other side. I like to add in this variation as a way of building strength throughout a range of motion and also challenging the hips, challenging the hamstrings. Really be mindful of the speed at which you come down here. You want to maintain control. Maintain that connection with the breath. Inhale, center. Exhale, lower. Notice that knee that's bent is staying tracking over the ankle, not letting the knee go way past the toes. It's pointing in the same direction as the toes as well. So keeping those alignment points in your mind at all times here, keeping your practice safe, especially if you're practicing at home without anybody watching you. And let's come back to center. Push into your feet, come up, hands on the waist. Heel till your feet in closer together and shake them out. Setting up for a malasana. You want your heels about shoulder width distance. So from your shoulders, your heels are in line, toes are turned out 45 degrees. Palms together, chest center. And bend your knees as you sink down into malasana. And notice if this pose feels a little different since we first came into it. Maybe your hips feel a bit more open. Maybe you feel like you have more space. Maybe you feel like your hips are more tired, your legs are more fatigued. Just check in with how this malasana feels. Does it feel the same or different? And if it feels different, how does it feel different? Letting awareness be a part of the practice. From here, we're going to start to come out of malasana as you bring your hands behind the body. Bring your seat down. Feet are mat width distance. That's windshield wiper. Awesome. From here, let's bring the soles of your feet together, your knees together, and we're going to sit on our sides like so. Setting up for a specific exercise to target the glute medius. You want your feet stacking on top of each other, and you want to flex those ankle and toes slightly up towards the thing. So it's called enervating your ankle. You're trying to enervate the ankle up like that, and then keep in that position. You don't have to have your legs too bent. You're going to lift that top leg and then release it back down. You're doing this with lots of control, lifting, and really focusing on engaging the muscles along your glute medius. That dimple that forms, if you place your thumb right here, if you put your hand into that dimple, you want to feel those muscles contracting as you lift that knee off and then lower back down. When you bring the knee down, if you look, that knee should hang just slightly above the bottom knee. So you're not letting that knee slip back, that knee slightly forward so your hips are stacking. If you have a resistance band at home, this is a great time to bring that resistance band around your thighs and then pull with that top leg. And we'll do about 20 of these. You might start to feel this after about 6 or 7, or maybe it takes you a lot more. Maybe you don't even feel it till 20. But try to really keep the movement controlled, keep it intentional, and focusing on those muscles that we're targeting along the outer thighs. Starting to feel the burn there. I got about 6 more to go. But to be honest, I'm not really counting. I'm just kind of going by feel. I always try to exhale when I exert the muscle. So when I'm lifting, I'm exerting. I'm trying to exhale. And then as I'm easing my way down, I'm inhaling. All right, it's about 20 on this side. I'm just going to go ahead and flip over onto the other side. Nice and relaxed for the rest of the body. You don't have to do too much. Enervate that ankle. Let the knee hang slightly over the bottom knee. Your hips are stacking so your hip doesn't lose that position, that top hip leading slightly forward, and then start to rotate the hip and let the knee lift off. So when I'm doing this, I'm really trying to actually just rotate my hip, and the knee lifting is a byproduct of that. So I'm not trying to actively lift my knee off, but rather I'm focusing my attention there and rotating the hip and using these muscles to make that rotation happen. And as those muscles engage and do their job, the knee lifts as a natural result of that. Sometimes just changing your focus, changing the intention can really make a difference in how your body experiences the movement or the particular pose. And it might not change anything for you at all. That's okay as well. Continue moving with control. And sometimes when you first start this exercise, it might seem like there's not really anything happening here. But after a few, you really do start to feel it. And notice I'm not going too high up with my knee because I want to make sure my pelvis stays in that alignment. If I start to lift that knee too high up, then I start to drop back, that pelvis loses the orientation that I want it to be in. So I'm just keeping these movements pretty controlled and just really targeting the muscles here. And I'm starting to feel a bit of shake happening here. I don't know if that's happening for you or not. Keep working on those muscles, working up to about 20. If you have knee issues or IT band syndrome, this is a great exercise to do as it helps to train the stabilizer muscles in the glutes, which takes a lot of the weight off of the knees and just helps you feel stronger and more stable in the lower half of the body. Sometimes if you do a lot of running or movements that go back and forth a lot, these muscles can get a bit neglected. So you want to actively strengthen as well as stretch these muscles out. All right, it's about 20 for me. I'm going to roll out of this position here because I'm looking way too comfy. Soles of the feet together. Let's grab hold of the top of the feet. And we're going to get the soles of the feet to face up as you lift the chest, draw the shoulders down the back, sitting in Baddha Konasana. Let those knees come as close to the ground as they can. Feel free to close the eyes. Sitting up tall, keeping that long spine. Chin slightly tucked in. And then start to come back, letting go of your feet and bring your knees together. Grab the back of the thighs as you lean back from here, coming into Shavasana or Navasana to start off. And from here, we'll transition to Shavasana. So bring the feet up, pointing your toes. Bring your shins to about parallel to the ground. You can let go of your legs, extend the arms forward, lifting in the chest. Maybe you're working on straightening out the legs, really challenging your core here. Try not to rock too far back onto your tailbone. Keep the weight slightly forward onto your sit bones. Stay nice and strong through that midsection, keeping your chest and your thighs squeezing together. And then to come down onto the mat, you can bring your hands down if you want to offer some support. If you want to challenge yourself some more, you come into a hollow body hold with your lower back pressed against the mat. Arms are up by the ears. Continue keeping the legs nice and strong. Laying your chest, your shoulders and the head down. Bring the legs into your chest. Wrap the arms around the shins. Tuck into a tight ball. And then releasing your head and shoulders down. From here, you have the option of crossing your right thigh over the left. If you want to target those side thigh muscles a little bit more, open the arms beside you. And if your right leg is crossed on top of the left thigh, then go ahead and lower the legs down to the right side. And you can continue looking up to the ceiling. You can look towards that outstretched left hand. And you want to let the weight of the top right leg help bring the left knee closer to the ground. Really find that stretch along the left diagonal of your body. So from the lats into your obliques, into the glutes, and down the side thigh muscles, the IT bands. And if this feels too intense, you can just uncross your legs, just have them stacked. Your choice entirely. Try not to let your left shoulder come too far off the mat. You want to feel easy in your breath here. Breathing into the stretch, breathing right into that hip socket on the left side. And as you inhale, come back to center, uncross the legs, and then cross them in the other way. So left leg crossing on top. And then we lower the legs to the left side as you look up or look towards the right. Finding a stretch for those muscles that we've spent some time strengthening and stretching today. And as you inhale, pull the knees back to center, uncross them. Let's move into a happy baby to wrap things up, taking your knees wider than the chest, arms on the inside of your legs, reach up to grab the feet, bring the soles of the feet to face the ceiling, draw the shoulders down into the mat, rolling your tailbone down. Entire spine is supported by the mat, and then rocking side to side, having fun with this pose. Enjoying your happy baby as you rock from side to side, draw circles to massage the lower back. Whatever feels good. And then when you feel ready from here, we're going to release our way into Shavasana. So go ahead and take up room on your mat as you straighten out the arms and legs. Taking your feet mat width distance, toes turned out 45 degrees, or just letting your feet roll out to the sides. Open the arms beside the body, relaxing into your shoulders, relaxing into the arms and hands. Closing the eyes when you feel ready. And letting the weight of your body release down into the mat. Feel the weight of your bones sinking. The muscles around your face softening. The eyes and tongue drop back. Soften the cheeks and the throat. Unhinge the jaw. And relax the length of your spine. And releasing any tension from the lower back. Relaxing your hips and glutes. And soften the back of your knees. And relax the ankles and toes. And letting your body rest. All the benefits of your practice sink in. And start to find small movements in the fingers and toes. And moving the ankles and wrists. And waking up the arms and legs. Turning your head from side to side. Let's bring your feet together, pointing your toes. Reach the arms overhead. Get as long in the body as you can as you point your fingers and toes in opposite directions. Inhale to lengthen. And exhale to relax. Inhale, reach. And exhale, relax. And you're bringing your preferred hand onto the belly, bending your knees. Turning over onto the side. And staying relaxed in your movements. Perhaps pausing to reflect on your practice. And keeping the eyes closed when you feel ready. Transition into a comfortable seat with your eyes closed and the palms together at chest center. Thank you so much for joining me for this practice, for inviting me into your space, and for allowing me to guide you through this class. Thank you. Namaste. Thank you.